Welcome to the Balanced Ambition podcast. I'm your host, Matt Southam. Here, we delve into candid conversations with entrepreneurs, exploring both their business journey and their secrets to maintaining mental well-being. As we navigate the balance of ambition and inner peace, I hope you find insights, inspiration, and invaluable takeaways in every episode. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Megan. Welcome to the show today. I want to start by asking you, what is it that you do and why is it important?
So I'm the co-founder and CEO of a company called Anansi, and what we do is essentially we're an insurance broker, and we provide an automated insurance product for goods in transit. So that's, so essentially we work with, retailers that have, a lot of items on the road at any one time, just making sure that they're covered in case they have to refund a customer or replace an item if something goes wrong in the transit process. And we can also work on the middle mile with logistics partners and others.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because we do see those, I suppose, stories of parcels that just go missing for whatever reason. And you help, I guess, protect the retailer from that issue, from the fact that, customers saying, I haven't received a product and they have to send another one out or refund or something. And you provide that insurance to bridge that, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. So, obviously in the UK, customers are covered under the Consumer Act. So really it's the retailers that the ones that, have to, face the loss essentially, which is why we're working directly with retailers. And, I guess the position that a lot of retailers are in is that they may get a small amount of cover from the courier firms. So that could be up to, say, £25. But for, more expensive items, essentially there's often an insurance gap. Between what they can get from the courier firms and what they may get from their kind of general business insurance. And that's essentially the gap that we're seeking to fill with our product as Anansi.
Yeah, and I guess, we have seen it in recent years, probably almost accelerated by the COVID period of a couple of years ago. Online shopping now is where a lot of people do the majority of their shopping. I know personally, I probably do buy more online than I do actually in retail stores. So have you seen that the need has grown for what you offer?
I think that's definitely the case. I think, obviously we went through a, big inflection point during COVID, but even since COVID, I think there are definitely still, I guess higher levels of online expenditure than were sort of before the pandemic. So, it did sort of normalize a little bit, but I think, definitely online retail is here to stay. And, having a sort of a straightforward process because, often, the claims journey for many insurance products can be quite labor intensive. I'm sure we've all had experiences of, filling in lots of forms and gathering all of the evidence.
Yeah.
But, one of the innovations of this product is that, we try to pre-populate our processes with the data that we can get from, the warehouse management systems or the tracking. So actually it's very little that, the retailer needs to do in the back end to support the claims process. So it's, really the ideal goal is this is kind of making the insurance disappear and just essentially provide the protection in the background.
Yeah. And talk me through how you got into the industry. What's your background before you founded the company or co-founded the company?
Yeah, so my background, so I actually worked in VC for a number of years. So I was investing in companies in the sort of the clean technology and industrial efficiency space. So I had the opportunity to see a lot of businesses, using technologies such as telematics and other forms of software to improve industrial processes, essentially. And I left that because, I really wanted to found my own business. And, I had some experiences of, doing, some work in the machine learning space quite a few years ago. And then also I actually founded an e-commerce business myself. So kind of putting all of those things together, kind of saw that, the e-commerce space is very automated. You have very small teams, who are able to, outsource things such as, accounting to Xero and using all this various different type of software. But, the insurance space was still very antiquated, wasn't, in those whole ecosystems. So that was really, I joined forces with my co-founder, Anna, who comes from more of a fintech background to, try and essentially do this.
Yeah, I guess the two of you combining actually with your understanding, that the fintech understanding, and just being able to bring I say the real world and software and automation, all of that together, because actually that's where I see automation and AI and all of the machine learning bits. Actually, for me, I very much see it as being able to help us speed up processes, to help us remove some of the small tasks that actually none of us want to do, and actually allow us to concentrate on the more important parts. Because one thing, from what I've seen, machine learning can't sort of solve is that human connection. So
Hey.
I love being able to spend more time connecting with people and actually using tools to speed up other processes. What's your take on AI and machine learning, and where we're going to go with all of that?
I think that's true because, I mean, obviously AI isn't coming up with anything new or creative. So I think that's, it's just really, a function of the data that's being input into the AI is how, effectively it can perform. So, for example, for what we do at Anansi, I mean, AI can, be a very helpful tool to, for example, we're working with, retailers that, could have potentially some thousands of claims a day. So you will be able to implement AI, to help with, fraud identification, to help optimize the pricing. There's all sorts of things that we can do with AI to, essentially augment the process. But, when it comes to the sort of the sales process, that's not just going to be run by AI. We still need to, connect with retailers. Each retailer has a different use case or different, third-party logistics partner. And I think those human connections are still what makes business work, essentially.
Yeah, I'd agree. I saw something this morning, I think it was, that basically said, AI doesn't care, and but humans do. So you can use AI for lots of other things, but actually that caring, the emotional attachment and the understanding, and being able to, you know, relate to someone's situation. Because sometimes things aren't quite as simple as AI might sort of process the data. Actually, there's more going on, and we know that when talking to people, you're hearing the words, but you're sort of thinking, so what else is going on here, because of someone's body language and things like that. So yeah, definitely humans have still got
I
a huge
think
part to play.
Yeah, I think a really good example of that is in recruitment because, I know that there's lots of AI tools to sort of screen CVs and that sort of thing. But, particularly when we recruited a startup, just looking at someone's CV doesn't really tell you the whole picture about the person.
No.
Are you going to be able to operate in an uncertain environment? Do are you a leader? Do you, do you come up with kind of innovative ideas? Can you be quite self-directed? And those things an AI isn't going to be able to screen that from a CV. You're still going to need to, spend some time with the person to really get that sense of, whether they would, really thrive in the role that you're looking to hire someone for.
Yeah, completely. I'm very much a believer on almost, employing people based on, I say them, I can't think of the exact words, but the qualifications. Sometimes, yes, it's good to have the understanding, but actually that's not always the finished goal. You need someone with the right character, someone, especially if you're building a small team, someone
Right.
who can come in and complement and fit within that team, because there's nothing worse than having someone, yes, technically on their CV they might be brilliant, but actually they have completely disrupted the entire team and morale's dropped, and it's hasn't worked. You've got to employ, first of all, for how someone's going to be able to perform, yeah, in a real world situation, regardless of just qualifications or even necessarily past experience.
Yeah, I think it's just quite a unique experience because, I mean, at the moment we only have 11 people on our team, so it's quite small. And, you could get people who are, extremely high performers for businesses, that are much larger, so 100 to 250 people. But it's a very different environment when you just don't, when you're so much smaller and you just don't have that, that same support structure and infrastructure around you.
Yeah, completely. So how have you found that journey, going from founding up to, 11 still, a reasonable number for, a startup company as such, like, how have you found that journey?
I mean, I think, definitely it's not been a sort of a straightforward journey. And I think one of the issues is that, starting a business in a regulated area is always going to be a bit more of a challenge.
Mm.
And, so because, if you're selling an insurance product, you need to be authorized. You need to have persuaded an insurance company to give you the insurance capacity. You need a product that, works. It's
Yeah.
not like, it's just taken some time to get all the building blocks in place. But I think this is, really set to be a very exciting year for us, after all of the groundwork that's been done.
Yeah, and what's one thing you learnt so much? I mean, because there is, you clearly had some experience in working, with technology and e-commerce and things like that. But what was something that you maybe didn't expect or you had to learn quite quickly from actually sort of founding your own business?
Mm. I mean, I think there's just so many things. It's really hard to sort of narrow it down, really. I mean, I think, just in every possible area. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons to actually have the privilege of doing a startup is that you just are able to develop in so many different areas. I think there's
Yeah.
very few roles where you're able to get that breadth of experience across so many different, so one day you're doing kind of, HR stuff, and the next day it's legal, like all the funding side of things, and then, obviously all the sales and working with customers. So, yeah, I mean, it's just a real mixture. I mean, obviously, I think, we didn't come from the insurance industry, so that I guess the main initial learning curve was just understanding how insurance works, and, in terms of the products and the pricing, and, just the dynamics across the businesses that you're essentially partnering. That was obviously the main thing. And then I guess, then the other side is really all of the human side of things, of, leading a team, motivating people, through the ups and downs, and, also, just taking people on a journey. Because, I think what people don't realize is that often you start with a vision, but it's not necessarily a straight road to achieving that. So, there's often, you might go down a bit of a cul-de-sac, and, have to sort of go, take some different directions. But, ultimately you're still working towards achieving the original vision that you set.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, often that journey, sort of maybe the end point, and there's going to be certain sort of milestones along the way. But sometimes that journey, sometimes it's lovely and other times it's a bit of a bumpy road or you take a wrong turn. But it's about refocusing, I guess, and getting yourself back onto that, the correct roads that you do actually reach that end sort of mission or vision that you've set for yourself. Clearly as a founder you're often motivated by that, but how do you keep your team motivated?
So one thing that we did just towards the end of last year is that we actually as a team did all of our objectives and key results, so OKRs. And what was quite cool is that, one of the team members said, I've worked in many other companies where I've had OKRs imposed on me, but not necessarily had the opportunity to actually feed into the OKRs. So we
Mm.
went through this pretty cool exercise where we kind of just like democratized the business planning essentially, and gave people the opportunity to, just make suggestions essentially. And then,
Yeah.
we all kind of committed to the OKRs that we've set for ourselves. And, people have different ownerships of them. And then, we're all, it's now very clear exactly what we're seeking to achieve, this quarter, and where we want to go this year with the business.
Yeah, I love the idea of getting everyone involved on sort of setting some goals. Yeah, some of the direction. There's a thing called, I think it was teamship. I saw a
Mhm.
talk from Clive Woodward, and he was talking about teamship rules of getting everyone together and agreeing together. Okay, what are we going to do so it's respectful to other people, and so we're all aiming for the same thing here, and you do then get that buy-in
Mhm.
from your team rather than just being like a teacher at school and saying these are the rules. Although I have seen that very much at schools when there's activities, they get students together and say, look, we need to set the rules here. What do you think is correct? How should we deal with people? Should we be respectful and things like that? And actually, again, it gets the buy-in for people to understand why some of those sort of rules or goals are actually in place.
I think that's really true.
Yeah. So what do you do outside of work then? Tell me a bit more about you.
So, I'm really very keen on sort of fitness. So I do, I have like quite a regular sort of gym practice, with a kind of community around that as well. And that's, definitely one of the things I think, definitely having kind of healthy body, healthy mind, and, just having some routine just about my day really helps, because I think, especially, when you're working on your startup, you can just often just get caught up in just meetings and work, and it's very difficult to just take some time out to come out of that. So yeah, I really enjoy having that as really one of the core things that I do. And yes, I mean, like, I guess I do enjoy also getting out into nature, some hiking, and being out, just being out away from my desk
Yeah.
from time to time.
I think that's the biggest one for a lot of us founders, actually, getting up, getting moving, seeing a bit of daylight, and exercise is a great one. I think entrepreneurs, we suffer from this thing of, we think actually owning our own business gives us freedom, but then our mind keeps us sort of locked into, if you're awake, you've got to be working, so there is some freedom there, but we're almost the block of getting up and actually allowing yourself to go to the gym, go for a walk, grab a coffee with a friend, whatever it is. Because you said, didn't you, healthy body, healthy mind, and it all interlinks. Do you find that, I do, if I don't go to the gym or do some exercise for a while, I get a bit grumpy, and I sort of, it's almost like a built up frustration where I've got to go and do something. And exercise for me is one of sort of my releases that helps me release the stress, because there are stressful parts in running a business, isn't there?
There's a lot of stressful parts, because there's a lot of things. I think the main thing is that, like, a lot of things are out of your control as well. So,
Yeah.
and that can give stress, because you just don't know necessarily, there's so many things that need to kind of line up in order for anything to happen. And that can be very stressful. So, I mean, one of the things I got over Christmas, I got a book about the circadian rhythm. So that's another thing that I'm trying to do, is just get more of a routine into the day. So,
Yeah.
actually seeing the sunrise, getting up and doing some exercise, and then trying to just do another walk around sunset, so that I kind of have a bit more of an orientation around the day.
Yeah, so skating rhythm is basically like your internal clock, isn't it? That,
Okay.
like the master clock that our bodies operate on. And pre having electricity and everything that we've got now, actually most of us would be asleep half hour after the sunset. It was just, that was the way we worked. But obviously we knock it out by working some funny hours, or having blue light from screens, or phones, the TV, late into the evening. So what have you learned about that? I don't know a huge amount about it, but
Yeah,
give me
so I
some
don't know if you've
insights.
ever come across the Huberman Lab podcast, but one of the things that Huberman is, really strongly advocates is the to try and see the sunrise, or to see the low angle sun in the morning, is one of the best things that you can do for your overall health, and for helping you to just sort of set yourself up for the day, and then also that in turn helps you get a higher quality of sleep at night as well.
Yeah, I'm quite into a short morning routine. So
Okay.
let me explain that. We hear of morning routines, and when I was first sort of into this, right, I've got to start doing this. There were some that were just, to be fair, ridiculously long. It was like the workout and the journaling, followed by yoga, followed by, and I was like, I don't have that time. I'm up. The kids have got to get ready for school, and so on and so on. But equally, I do find a little bit of my own time first off, and I like to have an ice bath and then a coffee and read a bit of a book. This does help set you up for the day. And I think there is some real benefit to doing something in the morning for yourself and for your body and for your mind, to help you get through those stressful days. So you getting out and seeing the sunlight at the moment? I guess it's quite easy at the moment because it's
Yeah,
a
it's
little
quite
bit
easy at the
later.
moment. Yeah, I think it'll be harder in the summer. So I only just started doing this. So yeah, so getting up, getting workout in first thing in the morning as well, and then
Yeah,
just having I do meditate, just not very long, but morning, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night
yeah,
as well,
that's brilliant.
before going to bed, and just that's my routine at the moment.
Yeah, I definitely think there's more that needs to be spoken about having that sort of routine, and I sort of think for yourself, as in, what I mean is that our days, especially as founders and entrepreneurs, are often taken up helping and serving other people, or serving our business. And we're very much, we're focused on that. We're passionate about it, but it's very much like you say, we can't control everything. Emails come in, phone calls come in, something goes wrong. But actually that first bit in the morning prior to all of that starting, you can control.
Yeah, that's
So,
very true. Yeah,
so
exactly.
take hold of it, because then I tend to find whatever happens during the day, at the end of the day, at least I can say, well, look, I did control that bit at the beginning and I've had my own time. Otherwise, yeah, I find the evenings then become stressful. If you can set yourself up, set your day up right, it definitely helps. What would you say to someone, where would they find out more about this, to a morning routine? How did you?
Um, I think that, well, there's a couple of things. So yeah, so I found out about this particular routine with the Morning Sun from Andrew Huberman, that Huberman Lab podcast. So yeah, he has a really, it's great. It's on YouTube, and it's also of course all the podcasts all about sort of longevity and body hacking, and he's got
Yeah,
various protocols. So to support you with sleep and exercise. The ice bath is one of the things that he recommends, as well as the sauna as well,
yeah.
which is my preferred option. And then there's actually also a newsletter that I subscribe to, which actually just tells you people's routines, which is quite cool, like different
Yeah,
people's influential people's daily routines. I guess it's just what they can glean from interviews and that sort of thing. But it's
yeah.
always I'm always fascinated by people's routines.
Yeah, it is really interesting to hear. I remember, I think was it a Mark Wahlberg one I saw? He was like in the gym at 3:30 a.m. or something, and I was sort of thinking, this is crazy. And he has like half of his days done by 9 a.m. But yeah, it was insane. But yeah, there's definitely some benefit to having some sort of routine. And I think maybe that's just the way. Maybe we need this more now, because modern life is so, one, chaotic, but also so comfortable. And what I mean by that is, one thing like about my ice bath, it's getting me out of, the comfortable lives that we live, as in I've got central heating and I've got light when I want it, and my shoes are really, really comfy. And actually we make everything as comfortable as possible for our bodies, which actually our ancestors didn't have. Life could be uncomfortable, on a physical level, whether that was walking a long way to actually, get food and drink, or whether it was, just the way they slept, or just anything. Life wasn't as comfortable as it is now, and perhaps our bodies are getting soft to it. I don't know. What
Yeah,
are
well,
your
there was
thoughts?
something really interesting I read the other day about, because people are eating a lot of processed food that's very, much easier, doesn't require very much chewing, it's actually changing the shape of people's jaws, because they don't have as much like
Wow.
need to have that like strong fibrous, biting through those sorts of things. So
Yeah.
that's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah. And I can see that. I can really believe that. It's, yeah, insane. I saw something a while ago to do with your daily steps, and the average, and I think this was about 100 or 150 years ago, average daily steps was sort of 20,000, and that was just without trying. That was just going around your daily life. And now we're sort of, lots of us are like, right, can I hit my 10,000? And you sort of struggle on that, and you have to make a real effort.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're definitely living a different lifestyle.
Yeah, I think that's very true.
So, talk to me more about it, because I'm quite interested in this. So what would you say to someone listening for the first time, who literally sits at their desk all day? And as an entrepreneur, I've done it, worked 12-hour days, up, coffee at the desk. What would you say? Because I think it's almost okay when you're young. I've realized that I'm into my 40s now, and I got away with it, but now I need to go and do other things, and I can't just sit at a desk. Otherwise my body starts to fall apart. What would you say to someone who has never sort of had a morning routine, or never done any of this, and so on?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's really difficult to, bring your best self to, to the role if you're literally just sitting at a desk for 12 hours a day. So, I say not only just having that, interaction with people through doing the morning routine, but just having a regular process of speaking to other entrepreneurs as well, to share ideas. So one of the best things that we did last year is that, we were really fortunate to be accepted onto the Google for Startups program. So that meant that we had, we were having sort of office hours with the other founders, And also, we're able to spend some solid concentrated time with the other founders at the closing event towards the end of the year. And there's just so much that you can pick up just from speaking to other people, just hearing what they're doing, sharing what you're doing. And, I think that's something that, especially now so many of us work remotely, we're kind of lacking a bit more. So just, I think it definitely, there's and all of those things can help you essentially run your business better, essentially. So, I think for me, it's not a question of how much time you're spending, sitting by the desk doing things, but it's how effective you can be with that time. And that's not those two aren't necessarily the same things.
No, there's a lot about that between sort of working late into the evening and long hours. It doesn't actually make you any more productive. And actually working on the right thing is much more important than just working.
I mean, I definitely found that. I mean, even back in university, I was always very proud to say that I'd never done an all-nighter, like in my whole life. Not through school, not through university, not through any job. Because I'm just like, by the time you get to about 2 a.m, like you're just exhausted and you're not doing anything, you're not producing anything. So
No.
what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah, no, taking a break. And it's always been my biggest one. When there's something stressful going on, when I've got a problem I can't solve, there's this actually taking a break for 10 minutes actually means that I come back fresh, and I'm much more likely to then solve the problem. It's amazing how our brains get overwhelmed, and you have to then give yourself a bit of a break. Do you find that all of that, the your morning routine, and exercise, does that help you stay on top of your mental health and keep yourself fairly focused on what you're trying to do?
Yeah, I think it's really important just to have those, I guess, it's like what you were saying before, just have those valves so that you can let off a bit of steam. And I think that's what helps you, essentially keep that productivity up through, the ups and the inevitable ups and downs, essentially.
Yeah, completely. It is. Valves is a really good way of putting it. I saw a thing about a bucket, and it's got some taps on the side, and stress gets poured in, and you've got to open some of those taps and let water out, and that's going to the gym, meeting up with friends, talking to other entrepreneurs, because I think that's really important as well, and sharing sort of real life stories and being able to provide advice to other people. Your network is incredibly powerful for supporting you. And I think we're seeing that more on social media. Actually, social media has taken a bit of a kicking maybe in recent years for the negative side, but actually I certainly see it now more on LinkedIn, people actually encouraging other entrepreneurs and business owners. And do you find that? Do you think you get support from other people?
Yeah, I mean, I think LinkedIn as a sort of a social network has just changed dramatically in the last maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
Because, I think, when LinkedIn sort of first started, it was just really about, job search, and it was pretty basic, and its sorts of updates, like the LinkedIn feed wasn't really somewhere that you would really spend a lot of time. But,
No.
I think in the last few years, it definitely is totally transformed into an actual working social network. So it feels like,
Yeah.
I guess, the office cooler for everyone, in your
It is.
industry, essentially.
Yeah.
And what was really interesting is that last year I was really fortunate to see Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't know if you've come across him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gary
so
V.
he gave the keynote speech at an insurance conference I was at last year. And he said basically, like, no one in the audience knew who he was. There were about 10 of us fanboys and girls in the front, hanging on his every word. That was quite funny. But he basically said LinkedIn is the biggest underexplored sort of social network going at the moment, and you should be posting 3 times a day on LinkedIn.
Yeah. I
Because,
know he does talk
essentially,
about a lot of posting.
yeah, but apparently, if the more you post on LinkedIn, actually, you are able to get quite a lot of inbounds and leads, and really the algorithm is really working for your business in a way that you aren't necessarily seeing on some of the other social platforms. So yeah, it was really inspiring. I've definitely been much more active on LinkedIn, even more active on LinkedIn as a following that, and definitely seen some results for sure without spending any money.
Yeah, I mean, that's another key thing. I mean, I've certainly tried to, start posting on there more regularly during the last 12 months. And again, have just seen that the connections that I've made with people from there. It's the right platform for personal brands, for entrepreneurs, business owners, and so on, to actually connect with other people. I very much like to keep, my Facebook sort of personal and with friends, and just sharing, silly stories or, photos of your kid's birthday party, etc. But LinkedIn enables you to actually show what you do professionally to people who might be interested in it. And it saves me having to share work-related stuff on a profile with my auntie they're on Facebook, then they're not interested. And Gary V, my background is in marketing, so I've known about Gary for years, but even recently I thought he couldn't get any bigger, but he seems to have got even bigger with people outside of the classic marketing industry knowing about him, listening to him and hearing what he's got to say about social media, because he talks about it a lot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I guess the reason they invited him to the insurance conference is that, fundamentally, no one wakes up in the morning wanting to buy insurance. So, I guess you have to really think about, getting the right information to people in the right context, which is essentially what he does. It's content marketing, essentially.
Content, yeah.
Yeah. So that's it's quite interesting to see that how that works.
Yeah, and potentially, I guess there's the argument there that as more AI, machine learning, technological advances, etc., come along, actually, the individuals who are posting regularly and giving out advice and connecting with people will actually be the real winners. Yeah, it's not just enough to have a website that ranks highly. Actually, you need to have a personal brand that people can connect with and actually understand. Would that be your take?
Yeah, I think there has to be some substance behind it. So yeah, using the SEO and the keywords will get people to your site, but they're not necessarily going to stay there if they're not getting any value.
No. Yeah, so putting out other content, and I'm a big believer in content creation for the right reason. Blogging, video content, podcasting, any way that actually you can just build a connection with someone. I think that's going to serve you long term. And content isn't a quick win, but I certainly think it's the best way of building relationships, which is why I think business is going to be formed on even more as we see technology changing.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the conversation today. I want to finish just with one final question of, can you give one bit of advice to someone thinking of starting a business? What would you say that, what should they know before jumping into it?
Well, I mean, I would say a couple of things. So I think, definitely don't believe all the sort of, overnight success stories that, you might read in the press. I think, what people don't talk about is, that, often it can be a journey, and it can, there can be ups and downs, and, it does take a lot of tenacity and resilience to, really grow a very valuable business. And then the second thing that I would say is that, that you don't need to necessarily go all in immediately. I mean, I don't know how you started your business, but these days it's so easy just to start side projects, like start a YouTube channel, start an Instagram account, or there's start a Shopify business. Like, there's so many business ideas that people can just try, test, see what works, learn, make a few mistakes, and then gradually build up to something that might be more all encompassing. So yeah, those are the two things that I would say.
Yeah, no, brilliant advice. I think, being able to start and getting a business ready before you maybe jump fully in with both feet is a really good top tip. Thank you once again for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, and I wish you all the best with your business.
Well, thanks very much. Thanks for having me. It was a really lovely conversation.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Balanced Ambition podcast. I genuinely hope the stories inspire you as much as they inspire me. If you found value in today's conversation, please share it with a friend. And remember, by subscribing, you won't miss an episode, and it would truly mean the world to me. Stay balanced, and I'll see you next time.